Hi, everyone. The memorial service, I might record something about that another time. It was pretty grim, as these things are. The people and their behaviour. The most interesting thing for me was the tributes, 3 tributes for my sister-in-law. And I might talk about that another time, because I've only got a fairly short slot here. I got away fairly promptly after the memorial. I didn't want to hang around because they're so uncomfortable. All those people that I don't know, most of them, I really don't want to see any of them, if I'm honest. My wife's cousins escaped and went off to a pub and invited me to join them, which might have been preferable because I could have just kept quiet and they would have just talked. But I declined. I don't drink anymore, and I wanted to get away. So I did what I had to do, got away, drove home, 6 hours or something like that, got home about midnight. And I've come back today, so that was Saturday, this is Monday. Why did I go home? 2 reasons. I really couldn't face staying with my brother-in-law in his house with a total of 12 people. I would have been 13th. That was a strong disincentive, but also my friend had booked another day at the Naturist Club, which trumps family, it seems. And I really wanted to do that. So yes, it was more important than spending time with my wife's extended family, which has no appeal to it at all. So selfishly, I did what I wanted to do. Drove home 6 hours, unpacked the van, went to bed for 4 hours, got up and dashed down to Hereford to meet my friend, and then drove up to Telford for the day and had a wonderful day. It was sunny, very hot and sunny, and I've managed to, despite using a homemade sunscreen, I've managed to get a bit burnt on my shoulders and just a line across my chest under my nipples. But apart from that, this home-sourced sunscreen was very, very effective. I don't think I said here, I used a commercial one when I was in the Lake District last week, and I had some skin reaction across my thighs and groin. Just came up in great red blotches, really, really itching, and actually quite painful as well as itching. And it subsided, and I went out in the sun again, and it came back. I didn't have any of that, and that's all fine. So I'm very pleased with that. More sun, lying in the sun, absolutely great. It's such a joy to feel on my skin, the sun and the wind. But the skin is supposedly the biggest organ in your body, and it certainly is very receptive to the feeling of the natural environment, the atmosphere, and it just feels a shame to cover it up with clothes all the time. But one has to, really. So we walked up to the woods, spent a lot of time in a clearing, had a bit of lunch, slept, did a bit of healing. She did some healing on me, which is wonderful. Lying on the ground on the side slope wasn't great, and I had a bit of shoulder pain, and I wasn't entirely relaxed. And a couple of times we heard voices as people walked past, which did impinge a bit on the experience for me, and probably for her. But at one time I felt a tremendous rush of cold air, really strong, prolonged gust of cold air blowing up my body, which was interesting because my friend didn't feel this at all, and she's much more susceptible to cold and drafts than I am. So that was interesting. But we'll leave that for the moment. We both feel that it's important we actually mix or try and mix with people at the same time, rather than just go and hide in the woods naked. To actually try and get more out of the experience by meeting up with other people or being around other people. So we did. We walked back down to the bar clubhouse area. We didn't have lunch in the wood. No, we walked back down to the bar clubhouse, bought an incredibly cheap drink. Not a great choice for us, but unbelievably cheap. Obviously, being naked, I didn't have my wallet with me, so she bought the drinks because she had her purse in her backpack, whereas I was just carrying blankets and towels. And when she went to pay for it, I thought, oh, she's only paying for her own. But no, it's both of them. It's just incredibly cheap. Very, very impressive in that respect. So we sat outside at a table, and two people came and sat opposite us on the table, asked if they could sit there. It's a very wide table with a folded parasol on it, which created a bit of a barrier between us. But I'm not one to speak to strangers. What does one say? Answer that. I have no ability to make conversation at all with strange people. So that was a bit awkward. My friend said she couldn't see the person opposite her because of the parasol and wasn't really able to make any contact to talk. But I think she, who is a great talker, she says she isn't, but she's a very social person, although she denies it. She couldn't make contact with the chap. I had the woman opposite me. And yes, it's slightly awkward looking at her because she was naked. But I wouldn't, even clothed in that situation, I wouldn't make contact with people. Excuse me. If they spoke to me, I would try and speak back in my very quiet voice. Anyway, that was awkward. I'm glad we did it. But I would really need to work hard on speaking to people in that social situation. I just don't know how to do it. But I was willing to go and have a go and sit amongst people. Didn't work out, but I tried. After that, we, at her choice, went back into the woods again, and what was that? It's the loudspeaker switching off. She had a bit of a sleep. I had a bit of a sleep. Just found a bit of woods, a bit of sun in the wood. It was just on a path, which was a slightly odd choice from her. She chose it. So it meant that we had 2 or 3 pairs of people walking past us, maybe more. Sometimes when we were lying in a sleep, and sometimes when we were reading. She was reading from a book and we were commenting on it. I've forgotten the man's name. Carl something. It's okay to be disliked. I'd have to look that up. It's quite interesting, though. It is interesting. And what we do is read a very short chapter and then look at it and how it might apply to us, which is it's very interesting, really. Then she was very keen to swim again, which she did last time and enjoyed it very much. I was not going to swim because I'm not a swimming person. But she went in. The pool was pretty empty. I think there was 2 people, if anyone. Might not have been anyone in there. And she encouraged me to get in, so I did get in and splashed around with floats. I don't swim, by the way. And she tried to encourage me to float and swim, and there was an old couple, and my friend commented on the fact that the woman of this couple was floating freely. And she gave some tips on how to do that, and gave me some encouragement with floats via my friend, because I wasn't great at responding in that situation. People again. So I played around with the floats and a bit of help from my friend, and then they went, another couple came in, an even older woman actually, who gave me some different